Hello and welcome back. Today we are going to be taking a look at the very exciting redacted photo that we got in Dev Diary number 80, which was talking about patch 1.3 updates. And in this, we have an example of a new law or a new law category. Now, in my Dev Diary rundown, I was like, hey, this is 5 new laws. This isn't 5 new laws. This is 5 new law choices. Or sorry, I used to think it was 5 categories of new laws, which would have been fantastic. But this is 5 new law choices for one singular type of law that can be implemented. And it is, of course, very redacted here. If just taking a quick look at some of the features, we're going to take a closer look at these images. But I think that this, my belief is that this applies to land ownership, which is very exciting. Currently in patch 1.2, the aristocrats will be the owners of the buildings for all of the arable goods for the entire game, unless you switch to Council Republic or, the Forced Command economy. And so this is very exciting because I think that this is what I think about this. I think this is changing it so that it is going to now be owned by other people or partially owned by other people, and I'll share why. So first of all, the big clue we have, or a big clue we have here, is the 9.8% law pass attempt by all these 4 interest groups here. We have the trade unionists, the industrialists, the intelligentsia, and the rural folk. Yes. And this adds up to 9.8%. We see 9.8% on this law, 9.8, 9.8, and only in the last one we see 9.2. Now, knowing which interest groups are particularly powerful late in the game, or sorry, at a phase in the game where you're having this the landowners be so strong, we have to kind of speculate what this might be. And I believe that this 0.6% clout, my intuition, is that this is the industrialists that are giving this 0.6% clout. And so the industrialists maybe don't support this law. This is my guess. I, of course, am reading the same redacted that you are. And so we don't have a lot to go with. We also have this one down here, gives plus rural folk political strength, and it unlocks new production methods and disallows multiple production methods. This is why I think we're getting new ownership PMs. This is what I think the production methods are, based on looking at these images and kind of just trying to think through this. I believe the PMs are not industrial PMs or this sort of stuff, but ownership PMs. A majority of the laws that you can pass also are ownership PMs, and so this is why I think the farms are getting into the hands of other people. It also didn't make sense you would reach this hyper late game where it's still owned by aristocrats like nobility passing down the farm from person to person as opposed to some other system. It seems very archaic and seems not very good. Okay, now we're going to jump in and take a closer look at the images and speculate and talk. So we have this up here where this looks like a little bit of a plant with a ball and chain. So my intuition here is that this is the landowner-based, kind of the early game type of thing, and in this case, it is all aristocrats. They own all the power, this sort of stuff, and this is why it's kind of resembling serfdom a little bit, but this doesn't seem like a serfdom law. I think that the serfdom will still be in another law. It's possible that they move serfdom over here, and the ball and chain means you people can't leave your turf. The serfs belong on the turf, and this sort of thing, but okay. Coming down, we have a hand giving a key with some of this grain next to it. What I believe this is a sort of split ownership, where the landowners still own most of the buildings, but some of the profits, right? This is sharecropping. Some of the profits will go to the people who are managing the buildings or keeping the farms running, this type of stuff. It's not all going to the landowners. This is my guess. And here we have a price tag next to some grain. So here we have hey, you got the key, you're the manager, right? This is how I think about it. The key implies a sort of manager is getting profits. The sales tag, to me, implies that the person who owns it's getting some sort of thing. And so this is coming back. I think that this is more industrialist oriented, where this will be capitalist partially owned over here, where they are trying to, build up and this type of law. I mean, I'm really obviously not sure because it's obviously very redacted. It's super redacted. We have this political strength and this PMs thing to really go off of, but I believe that this is going to be sales to the industrialist. and that it will be some sort of mixture. So this might be rural folk getting some power and some ownership. This might just be industrialists getting some power and ownership, but still a split between them and the landowners, or perhaps not even a split. Next up, we have this, which is farm, and it also has the tag. So this, I think, to me implies this won't be industrialist owned or capitalist owned. This will be farmer owned. And this very much comports with this 25% rural folk political strength. But I'm not sure it's entirely farmer owned. Because of the next one, really. But this seems to imply to me the ownership of the land is the person who is on it. They are the one managing the farm, as in the key, but they are also owning the farm, as in, the price tag. And so this is kind of what I get from this image, relative to the others. And then finally, we have this looks like a cooperative endeavor next to some grain, and I think that this is the community owns it. Now, I'm not sure what all is involved here, but this is, I believe, not some sort of, the landowners, the rural folk own it, and they take the profits. This might be the entire community owns it, and the community takes the profits, and there's no, real, or all the people who work it. It's a workers' co-op. So this is a farmer-owned one, and this is a workers' co-op, which is why I think the industrialists here do not support it, and it only has 9.2% enactment chance. So my guess is we have sort of a thing here where this is, traditional aristocratic ownership of the arable land, all of the arable land, the plantations, the farms, this type of stuff, traditional aristocratic owned. I think for this law, we have a split between aristocrat and the person actually managing the farm, getting the dividends from the building. I think here we have, this is going to be whoever can buy it can own it, is going to be more industrialist owned, and perhaps a split between aristocrats and industrialists, aristocrats and capitalists, that is. But if you buy it, you own it. For this, I believe the people who will be buying it and owning it will be more the farm-oriented, the people working on it, which is what's implied to me by this sales tag, right? But alongside a farm that has a little house on it, the person with the house is managing it, and this I think is a co-op, which means that there is no ownership. It is split amongst the community, and this is why I think that the clout is eliminated, we see this 9.6 enactment chance change, this 9.8 change to 9.2. I believe this is because the industrialists no longer support this, but the rural folk and the intelligentsia and the trade unions support it. Early on, when this interest group is super powerful, the landowners, you will see a weak both trade unionists and industrialists, but I don't think the trade unionists are opposing this, whatever this is. I think it's probably the industrialists. The rural folk are probably powerful for this image, and the intelligentsia, who knows, because it can vary quite a lot. But this is kind of what I think that the law is about. It is about the ownership. It is about the new production methods, which are going to be ownership PMs, and this is my speculation on this. I hope this has been interesting. If you have different ideas, feel free to put them in the comments. If you think this is correct, also put it in the comments. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and have a good day.